Okay. Yeah, no, so hopefully my audio is good. I don't know. Pop out this chat real quick. Welcome to the New York Session live stream, guys. So I'm hoping my audio is okay. Let me just check this real quick. So yeah, the audio is picking up. I'm not using Ethernet because there's a issue with the LAN port itself. So like I'm using Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi is crap, honestly, but we are here. And it seems to be working okay. Not really much lag from what I could tell, so that's great. All right. So yeah, welcome to the New York Session live stream, guys. And we're gonna get back into the groove of things. I'm gonna try to be more consistent with these. Some of you guys said that you prefer trading during the New York sessions rather than waking up early for the London sessions, and I completely understand that it could be kind of tasking. So from now on, I feel we're going to focus more on the New York sessions, really, because that's where we get the most volume. We have the overlap with the London and New York Open, so you know, we have some pretty good price action movements. And for the past couple of weeks now, London session has been pretty boring, not gonna lie, so I'm completely okay with focusing on the New York session streams. That being said, guys, diving straight into it. So we did take a couple of trades already from the free and VIP as well. So I am in AED JPY right now, looking to see this continue moving down. We were getting a pretty nice pushy downside. However, here on the 4-hour, you can see right here, this is what I'm concerned about. This acting as a zone of support for price to actually pull higher. Now, there's no reason for the AED to be buying right now. I do think that the yen is the stronger currency between the two, and we could see some downside continuations. However, I do utilize a tight stops with my trades, so we can get stopped out of this and then price continues moving down. If we do get stopped out, what I would look to enter for possible sell continuation is once we see this break below this sort of supportive level right here, right? So if price does pull up higher, if we do get a break to the downside here, that's where I'll be looking to see price continue moving further downwards. All right, because that just signifies that we do have more selling pressure rather than buying pressure or any buy tones right now. And yeah, we could see this acting as the next level of support for price to possibly come into and then rally to the upside, perhaps. All right, but I am more on the sell side bias right now. We still have 26 minutes or so for this candle to finish do what it's doing, and we'll see what sort of results we gain from that. I did enter early position here. I entered a secondary position here as well, both with 2% risk. So for me, this is roughly 7%, 6.6, right? Rounded off to 7%, and then this one here as well with a 7%. So 14% if it does play all the way out. And Euro AD, this is another trade that we did take within the VIP. So Euro AD, I am expecting this to continue moving up. However, right, of last week, we did see some very strong sell side pressures, even though we did come out bullish with the interest rate decision we did get from the ECB. However, there were fears within, there were fears about recessionary fears and some other key factors that they come into play with the reason as to why the euro continued seeing some sell side pressure. However, gathering what we do have thus far in terms of the data, I do think that we could see a possible rally back up, if not all the way up to these highs here, then possibly right into these areas. This will be a key area for me, and this also here will be a key area for me, the profit target of this secondary entry here. So for now, I am leaving it as is, just looking to pay attention and see what sort of news events we do have coming out from the ECB. And it's not really news per se, but more so just speeches and where we have the heads of the central bank actually, you know, where they are at with their monetary policies, some of the stuff that they're looking at and so forth. And that's basically it. I also do have a JPY trade. Looking at it, we are seeing price come back into the entry point, and this was a trade I took on a 15-minute. So you can see this is acting as a sort of support, but again, we do have full, what's that, 25 minutes to see what sort of price action we do get, how the candle does turn out. Maybe we might see a full-on rejection and price pullback below here. If we do get that price pulling back below here, then that's great for possible continuation into these lows here. So yeah, if you want to enter in a trade, I think JPY is a good possible trade that you could enter on right now currently, right? So this would be sort of like my take on it for a possible entry, stop loss right above here. Right, this is a key zone that we could pay attention to. Price should respect that, and then see price continue moving downwards. All right, so this will be something that I think, yeah, this has a potential to actually, you know, see price play out, but who knows, right? But that's me thus far. Really not much going on for the, you know, at the starting of the week here. All right, we did see, however, this is one thing I like to note as well. The DXY, we can see it's ranging pretty clearly, right? Just price just ranging. After we had this break to the upside, after the Euro news, we saw that the DXY actually gained strength as we have a weaker Euro. We had a stronger dollar. They do work in opposition of each other, right? So usually when we have a weak dollar, we usually see a stronger Euro. When we have a weak Euro, we see a stronger dollar, right? Yeah, so price is ranging here on the DXY, right? The dollar average. However, if we take a look on the NAS 100, XPX, and US 30, right? All of them basically show the same price action movements. You can see here, very strong downward pressures, right? And this was basically off of that same Euro news. As we had the strength of the US dollar actually increase, we saw this price fall right here. But continuing into the opening of today, however, we see that fall kind of continue. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's something that we should know. Price has come into this major area here. Something I was looking at for possible entry point to get in on NAS 100. I do love NAS 100 a lot more than the XPX 500 and US 30. Just because in terms of the yield and price action movement, I find it tends to be a lot clearer rather than US 30 and SPX, well, the S&P. So yeah, NAS 100 did came into this area here of support, right? Looking at the daily and the forward time frame, you can see this is sort of like a range price action movement right now, right? As we do continue with an overall uptrended movement. All right, so I think this is a good possible position you could enter to go long to see price actually come all the way back up to these highs here. Statistically speaking, the NAS 100 and any of these indices usually do increase over time. So more than likely, we should see price continue moving to the upside or bullish. It's just a matter of when are the entries for that movement going to occur. This is one possible entry for that movement to occur, right? So hopefully that you know, that's some insight as to what you could expect. I do really like the NAS 100 right now, actually. So this might be a possible trade setup for me. I'm already exposed in a lot of different things right now, so I don't want to like over risk or anything like that. So you're just gonna wait to see how these things play out. I really don't like the bullish price action movement right now, right? Especially on the lower time frames. Alright, so we get some pullbacks. Price action looking okay. Alright. Yeah, and this is basically it right now. Not really much else to pay attention to. I don't particularly trade gold or stuff like that. Gold movement here was pretty nice, and I did have an entry point here last week, that is, for when price rallied back from these lows here, right? So from this general area, I was expecting price to rally back to the upside when we did have the USD news and when we had the Euro news. This was particularly with the USD news though. When we had, I believe it was inflation and jobless claims, right? News did come out bearish, however, we saw that movement not, being reflected on the price action chart here for gold. So price just came just a hair's length, almost triggering us into the trade, but then rejected from it. So that was kind of that was great, right? Or it would end up being an immediate losing trade for us. But then, as you could see, it eventually came up here, right? And this is the thing, even though we did have that bullish USD, we had this bearish USD move. It's kind of confusing because there's a correlation between gold and the USD currency strength, right? The DXY. So it was kind of confusing, but it's just one of those things really that has a lot of other impactful news event that would cause the price action movement to kind of deviate from each other, or what we are accustomed to when it comes to price correlating to another asset. Alright, so that's why I really say that it's important to be aware of the fundamentals. You don't have to be aware of every single thing going on in the economy, but have a general idea of what is going around, what's going on around you. Alright, that will save you from entering crappy setups, getting your A+ setups and so forth, right? So this right here, I don't know, I do think that we could see price continue moving higher. We are in some peculiar zones right now. Excuse me. Right, so this is one area price will have to push past to continue that upward movement that we are seeing right now. Pretty strong bullish movement. Let's take a look at the fundamentals. Do we have anything fundamentally we need to pay attention to? Nothing today per se. The real meat of the fundamentals starts tomorrow on the Tuesday. So first we have the RBA meeting minutes that's coming out at 1:30 a.m. all right, I'll be asleep, so that really that doesn't concern me too much. I'm expecting more of a negative outturn. We have the Euro CPI data coming out as well, expected an increase here. Inflation remaining the same, but the Euro CPI, that's at 9 a.m. We'll see what sort of impact that does have for the euro dollar. Again, high CPI usually should mean a bullish price action movement, but as you have seen, that is not always the case. All right, with interest rates coming out higher than expected for the euro, we still had a bearish movement. Some would say maybe it's because of the comments made by the ECB representative Larage, or it might be something else. Everybody has their own speculation, their own analysis as to why price did what it did. One thing, the key takeaway from it all is that sometimes you'll have like your best day setup, technicals aligned, fundamentally it makes sense, technically it makes sense, but price still moves against you. Probability of it happening very slim. However, there's slight chances that it does, and that is what you need to understand in trading. It's all about probability and statistics, right? And what makes it different from gambling is that there are actually strategies and things that you could put in place in order to be right the majority of the time compared to being wrong the majority of the time, right? As well as risk management, right? How much you are willing to put into a trade. So you go in with the idea of, okay, if this is go against me, how much am I going to lose? Statistically speaking, how likely I am to win rather than lose over a period of time, right? And depending on your risk, how much likely your profit is going to be over that period of time, right? So it's really about probabilities. Obviously we do have different things you could implement in order to make those probabilities higher, but not all the time they'll work out, right? As of last week, right? That was a really salty moment for me. Even though we did at the end then manage to make 30% overall, it was pretty trying because I was really keen on the euro buys for that. Okay, inflation rate for the CAD also. So we expected an increase here, which should be bullish for the CAD. The CAD has been recently very bullish with news on oil, right? Oil and the CAD do have a close correlation. They do provide, I believe, 33%. Maybe that percentage is higher now, as with the Russia-Ukraine war. But they did provide, last time I checked, I think it was 2022, 33% of America's overall oil importations, right? So that does come from Canada. One of their biggest export is oil. So a lot of the time when we do have strong oil news, that does correlate with the Canadian dollar, and we'll usually see a bullish movement with that. All right, so the CAD has been pretty bullish despite the US dollar fluctuating a lot. Could have relied on CAD bullishness for the past couple of weeks. Right? Obviously, hindsight, I didn't take advantage of that, however, though. And that's just the reality of it sometimes. All right. Yeah, and that's basically it that we do have for the Tuesday. Wednesday, I do think we start to see some interest rate decisions. So we have the interest rates from the US, right? On Wednesday, looking to remain the same. I think the interest rates here not really going to be the thing that's focused on, but rather the projections as to what we could expect in the coming next quarter and so forth next year. So I do think that this year would play a lot more on the price action movement rather than the actual interest rates, more so the economic projections and such, right? And the interest rates projection, right? So this is the longer term, the current, and so forth. Then we have the Fed press conference. So all of this coming out, a lot of USD news coming out pretty close together. So at 1800, what time is that, right? So 1806, interesting. So at 6 p.m, that's when we're gonna get news on the interest rate decision. And then we have the Fed conference afterwards at 6:30. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this is at 24 o'clock. 1800 is 6 o'clock, I believe. Right, 6 p.m. And then we have the GDP growth stuff. So pretty news heavy week, right? We have a lot of news coming upwards. I didn't see this yet. Interest rate decision for the CHF, pretty good. We also have interest rate decision, I believe, for the interest rate decision for the yen as well. So a lot of interest rate news, pretty news every week, obviously. So we need to pay attention to some of these things. Let's take a look at these other trades right now. Right, so this is basically where we left it at. JPY price right at the entry point. Still trying to, bounce off of this current area of support here. $80 JPY. So as soon as we pass this here, this little level right here, I just think that we should see continuations all the way into this area. Right? So yeah, thus far this is all that we have going on. The XY is strengthening a little bit here. We're gonna see that reflected on all the other currency pairs here. And take a look at GJ. So as I said, I already have my GJ buyers, obviously waiting for the candle close here on the 30 minutes. We have 10 minutes to the candle close, so we'll see how that pans out. If we do get a bearish candle close, that's great. Then the next candle should continue bearish downwards into the zone here. Close below will signify continuation into this target area here. Right, so let's say for now this is my main trade right now that I'm paying attention to. We'll look to see what sort of price action movement we do get, if price is going to play out. Once we do reach into this area, if we do, I'll end the stream right here, because at then we should continue moving further down. So this is sort of where I'm looking at to see price move into for now. All right, so I'm just going to take off my cam right now. So basically, this is all that we're waiting for. I'm looking to, see price action movements.